Hi, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm the Lil Neuman host, and my co-host Susan Salomone is not with us today, but she'll be back next time. And today's show, we have Police Commissioner Michael Corcoran from the Rye Police Department.
Rye Police Department, yes.
Thank you for being here. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You know what? There's a lot of news. Rye's been in the paper a lot this year and last few years. Lots going on. But can you talk about what got you in this field? How'd you wind up here in Rye?
Well, it's an interesting story. I've been in law enforcement for 26 years. I began my career with the West Orange Police Department in New Jersey, which is a very different community than Rye. It's a larger community, about 12 square miles, population of about 45,000, suburban community, but we had some urban issues as well. You know, a fair share of violent crime, drug-related crime, burglaries, that type of crime. As recent as this time last year, I was a deputy chief of police, and I was looking to move on to a different chapter. I wanted to lead a police department, and I picked up, saw an ad on the Police Executive Research Forum for Rye. And Rye, I always knew as a kid coming to Playland, and I just was very intrigued by the community, what they were looking for, and they were doing a nationwide search for a police commissioner. And I came up on the interview, and I found out there was 24 candidates, and ultimately I was selected back in November of 2015, and I took over. Thank you. February of 2016.
So, what do you see the difference? What's going on in your community in Rye?
In Rye is a beautiful community, very community-oriented community. One of the things I think that was troubling to me coming in was the amount of overdose and drug-related deaths that and alcohol-related deaths that we witnessed over the past couple years, and these were young people. And it was very, very tragic. And they all came from good families, good upbringing, beautiful community, excellent school system, rated one of the top school systems in the country. And I really saw that as extremely troublesome. And I think that was really one of my mandates when I became the police commissioner was to stop the tide. And I've had relationships with the Rye Act Coalition. With Julie Killian, Nancy Pasquale, great people, really leaders and pioneers in this type of program and helping kids. So as a police commissioner, I think looking at drugs, it's a multifaceted approach. And I've had conversations with Nancy and Julie on a frequent basis that enforcement is just a very small part of the puzzle. And you know, there are people out there that sometimes that suffer that maybe aren't necessarily criminal that need help. So I think we have to look at a lot of different resources and how we go about attacking this. It's not a simple solution where we can just arrest people.
That's right. You can't anymore.
Absolutely not.
It's too much, and too many people are in jail because of it. You know, we have to find solutions, and it's treatment and it's prevention. So what did you do differently when you came up here? Because I know you've made some changes. I've made a few changes, and what I did was I relied on a lot of experience I had in West Orange. I had the great fortune of working everywhere in my 25 years in West Orange. I worked in narcotics, I worked in investigations, patrol, and I've dealt with people who are addicted to drugs, people who committed drug-related crime, violent crime, and I took that skill set and I said, how can I really apply this here? And you know what I had seen, and just talking to people, like one of the first people I met with was former school superintendent Frank Alvarez, who was really a great guy. He absolutely was part of the Riot Coalition. We had a lot of meetings, a lot of community meetings, and he was one of the first people I reached out to. And I said, listen, my understanding is that we really don't have a close relationship with the schools. And I think that is extremely important to be invested in the community and to know everyone. Because I've told our officers time and time again, if you know every kid in the community, if you know all the teachers, the parents, you in essence really hold the keys to the kingdom. You really do are able to, I think, definitely affect change. So I met with Frank, and I met with high school principal Pat Taylor, a lot of other principals throughout the community, and that's something we've had a very close relationship with. And another thing I did was to bolster those relationships, I created a program called an Adopt a School program, where we have officers that are assigned to school. And these were officers that were handpicked by me, the best and brightest of Rye Police Department, that volunteered for this assignment. And I think that was very important because they're passionate about working with young people.
And what that is really right now we're in the relationship forming stages. We're getting to know kids from elementary school all the way through high school.
Wow.
They're assigned to every different school. But the uniqueness of this program is that it's patrol based. So an officer who's on patrol in his or her sector will stop at the school for perhaps a half hour or an hour.
Okay.
They'll go to after school events. They'll participate in school safety drills, bike rodeos, getting to know the kids, building relationships with them. But also in that same vein is that we're building the relationships if there's a kid that does have a problem, we can maybe divert them or maybe mentor them or help them out. So it's just a different level of outreach, and they can look at a police officer maybe not as a foe, but as a friend, as a trusted confidant. So really what it is, and I know I'm probably dating myself going back many years, but almost like that officer-friendly type of approach.
I was going to say, that's right.
When you had that beat cop who was walking the street, who was involved. And it's really, what it is basically, it's a return to basics, and it's community policing 101. But what I've done with these officers, and I've allowed them just a lot of latitude, is to be creative. You tell me what you think would work in the school. So, I mean, these are all extremely bright, capable officers, and I want to give them the latitude and the freedom to develop programs. So it's because it's just assigned to the school, it's not just your typical DARE program, but that's something we can do. It's a component we can do. So we're doing a lot of that. We have one of our officers actually is in the process of developing a young women's safety class for young ladies, maybe going off to college and high school. So it's not necessarily just pigeonholed into one thing. So
they can be creative.
It is very creative, and it's very we receive nothing but positive feedback from the community, and that's something to a meeting on the Health and Safety Committee meeting tomorrow with members of the school board, teachers, and then next week a meeting with leaders of the PTO, the parent-teacher organization. So I mean that's very important to have that outreach and to have everyone know that they have a friend in the commissioner's office.
That's right, and that you're accessible.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I hear about you. Besides that you're Superman and you're everyone's hero, that you're accessible and approachable. And your officers are also. I mean, and being in the schools. Sure,
and I think that's what you have to be. And like I told our officers when you take this job, I mean, you have to go out, because oftentimes when people encounter police officers, it can be a negative type of interaction, whether they're stopped for a motor vehicle violation or they're called to someone's house for an emergency. So I told our officers, be friendly, go out, build your fan base. You see people outside mowing their lawn or being outside, wave, say hello, say hi, and engage people. Keep people engaged. I think so. I think it's
new for them too. I think it's new for most police officers to. I think they want to be part of the community, but maybe there's that barrier because maybe they don't know how they're going to be received when they go, "Hi, how are you?"
Sure.
They're like Officer Joe.
Sure.
You know, we're from the same, Officer Joe, right? Officer Joe.
And they build that relationship too. And one thing I've told our officers, and I've told a lot of people in the community, if you come through RYE, expect to be engaged. And if you're intent on committing criminal activity, we will engage you. We will engage you, and you'll be held accountable because our job is to keep everyone safe. Of everyone who lives, works, or comes through RYE. That being said, also we want to say hi to everyone else and just let them know we're there. We're there to help you. It's the message needs to get out. I think even further. Hey, police are here to help you. We're your friends. We're supportive of you, and we in turn appreciate the support the other way as well.
I know, and I think when police officers know the kids' names in town and they know the families, it makes it so much easier. If a kid is in trouble, they can go to someone and talk to the police officer and say, look, I have, I'm in trouble or whatever.
Sure, absolutely. And I look back to in terms of, I've done some work with Rotary recently, and we were looking at different ways, obviously local budgets are always strapped and everything, and it's sometimes difficult, but what Rotary is looking to do also is look for perhaps donating funds to community causes. And what I'm looking to do with that is maybe channel a donation towards our Adopt a School program so we can have things, maybe educational materials that we can give our kids, and like, because all kids love things. They love stuff, and I think that's very important in terms of building relationships and getting to know them. And I've encouraged our officers too. Just because you're assigned to the school doesn't mean if you're on the afternoon shift, stop by a sporting event, and the kids will love to see you and be involved with you. So I mean, our officers are really, I think they're very excited about the program. It's very new. We have a new superintendent, Brian Monahan now, who's again been nothing but a source of support and has embraced this program. And I think in the end, we're all going to be better for it.
You will. And you know what? You've implemented some new things, a tip, information, texting. What's that?
Sure. We when I first got involved in RIACT, and I looked at some of our technology, and obviously you look at it in terms of the generation we're in now, like everything's technology driven. Like it's very rare that people talk to each other anymore. I have a conversation with my kids all the time. Stop texting, talk to people. But I think what I wanted to do is reach out to that different segment that maybe wants to tell us something, but maybe is afraid to. Like a kid never wants to be labeled as a person who was told on someone. And we were getting information. I was getting information from parents and at these community meetings that we could really use some other avenue. So like it was nothing that was too difficult to do. We created an anonymous tips line, cell phone, which is just basically you call, leave a message. The police will not pick up the phone, will not say, hello, Rye Police. You can call, leave a message. You can send it via email, or you can send a tips line via text. All the information is on our website, and it actually has yielded some very productive information thus far. So we're normally getting 1 to 2 tips per week, and I'd expect that to even increase. And actually, I sent an email blast to the school superintendent last week, who was forwarding that on to all PTOs and other members of the school community. So it's definitely out there, and it's something that's extremely helpful in terms of fighting the narcotics fight. Because while some people may need help, there's some people who are up to no good that are dealing and spreading this to our young people.
I know, like Harrison, we had the 2 deaths in Harrison over the summer, and then had the big arrest right on Halstead.
Sure.
I mean, it's incomprehensible for me. I mean, and I'm in the field, but the things that are just going on, I don't know. We weren't that brazen back in the day. I just don't get it.
Sure. It's different, different environment, different culture, and how we're, again, we're a very mobile society now too. I mean, Rye is a beautiful community, but I mean, the thing is too, we have 95, we have 287, we have a train line, stuff can come in and out. And Rye we're very fortunate in the respect we have very low crime rate, we have outstanding police officers. I'm extremely proud of the work they do day in, day out, and I think all residents should be proud of our department. I know there's not a day that I'm not proud to walk in that building and fly the flag every day of the Rye Police Department. And I think that's extremely important. And I think you see pride in our officers that they want to go out and keep people safe. But just because we're a suburban, wonderful community, sometimes we're not immune to that. I mean, too, addiction touches all families. Drugs touches families. And sometimes you have people who are up to no good that live in nice places too. They have to be dealt with.
And I know I asked before if we could talk about it. I know you had a resident that was arrested.
Yes.
And you know what? My heart goes out for the family.
Of course.
Because there's the shame, the stigma. People look and say, well, the parents. It's always the parents. The mother first, and then it's the parents. How has the community reacted to one of their own?
I think the community, by and large, has been very supportive. Some people obviously are cheering, good enough, do that. But I think there's an equal amount of people who are saying that's someone's son, that's someone's family member, and they feel very badly for the families as well. And I believe too, people who commit crimes need to be held accountable. But that being said, I'm compassionate in that there's somebody's son, mother, father, daughter, et cetera. So I think you have to look at that. And if a person has a problem, hopefully treatment can help them. So hopefully they'll stop their ways. But it was a significant arrest we were working on for a while, and I expect more arrests to be coming down the road. I mean, our officers are very active, very engaged. I have a narcotics officer position that was created specifically assigned to the Detective Division. One of my officers just got back from training with the DEA for 2 weeks. So we're staying on in touch with what the cutting edge trends are. And I've said this so many times. I mean, I've said it till I'm blue in the face that what we're facing out there is a moving target. It changes all the time. And I just was having a conversation with a couple people from RIACT only a couple weeks ago. They had a case out in Cincinnati. 174 people in 1 week overdosed. People were shooting heroin laced with elephant tranquilizer. I mean, it's crazy what is out there now. And fentanyl, I mean, that's out there too. But there's stuff that's changing. There's information we've received from sources too that in Mexico they may be developing a heroin pill, which eventually is I think it's going to get here. You know, it's just a matter of dealing with it. So it is a moving target. So we have to stay ahead of the curve. And I think too, again, our officers are very much active, and I think we're extremely well prepared for anything that comes our way. I'm absolutely confident in that. That being said, you can't let your guard down. I mean, you can't rest on your laurels, and pat yourself on the back. Because I always say the only easy day was yesterday. Like you have to be on your game every single day.
Because you don't know what's coming, especially in this. Because people that are pushing this stuff in Mexico, wherever it is, they want their money.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's what does this. That's what fuels this.
It's profit driven, absolutely.
And and I'm in treatment. And I say to myself, how are we ever going to combat this? You know, I do the Narcan trainings, which I know is a way, and your officers being out there and just letting people know that you're there. But I guess we just got to do one day at a time and just do what we can do.
Sure, absolutely.
It's just sometimes disheartening. That's all. So what else do you have plans for your police department? Well,
again, we're going to continue the Adopt a School program.
I like that.
I've implemented a career development program also in our department. And what was unique about RI, I mean, we're considered, I would probably say a smaller job in terms of number of officers. Probably in Westchester, though, probably pretty much average. There's a lot of smaller places. We're about 36 officers right now. And what I had seen was that our officers would just work in maybe patrol for their whole career. And so what I started implementing was a career development program where officers could be assigned to the Detective Division for a month at a time, expose them to different things. We recently hired 2 officers from New York City Police Department. We have another officer in the Police Academy right now who will be graduating in January. And I'm looking to hopefully expand this program so it's more like a 3-month program where you're exposed to Detective Division, Marine Unit, like a little bit of everything. We have a very unique department. We're very uniquely located in that we're right on Long Island Sound. We have a Marine unit. So there's other issues and other things to learn. So in terms of developing someone's career and helping them along in their career and giving them interest in their career, I want to expose them to a lot of different things. We're really big on technology, license plate readers. We have a very active police department. So we're looking at a lot of crime-fighting tools. Our officers know and our supervisors know more particularly it is a very accountability-based department now. I meet with the commanders every morning. I know what's going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The shift commander emails me at the end of each shift, I know exactly what went on, and they know I'm a phone call away. So we're in the process too of updating our emergency preparedness plan. So in case God forbid we get hit with another hurricane or storm, we are more than ready. So I think it's a lot of it is a lot of my counterparts, my department heads, I think they realize we all work together. It's a team effort. And I always tell our officers, I do nothing, but we do everything. So we stick together. And I think, that which makes Rye such a great city. I mean, I've had nothing but support from the mayor, the city council, city manager. I mean, they're fabulous people, the most professional people I've had the privilege to work with in 26 years. That being said, too, I want to definitely increase our training in the police department and give people opportunities to further develop themselves. The FBI is going to be moving to Rye soon. That's another opportunity. And I think that's the more law enforcement in a community, I think the better. And I think you have to reach across and work with people.
Do you work with other towns? I mean, Harrison, there's White Plains, there's Portchester. Do you, like, commissioners get together and talk and, you know, like share notes, whatever?
Absolutely. We talk on a regular basis. I talk with Rich Conway in Portchester on a very frequent basis. Greg Austin from Rybrook. We do talk rather frequently, and Portchester, Rye, and Rybrook all share radio frequency. So we know what's going on all times in all three different communities.
So no one works in silos. I like that.
Exactly.
Not working in silos, everyone working together for making our community safer.
Sure, and I have to give credit to the Westchester Chiefs too. They're a bunch of fantastic people. They really embraced me when I came here. They've been nothing but helpful, and I mean that's what it's about. It's a team. It's a team effort, and I always say, like in law enforcement, you leave your ego at the door, like, because this is a team effort. We work together, and it's a very difficult job that policing is today. You're expected to do an awful lot of things that I wasn't, even aware of 25 years ago. Threats of terrorism.
Yes, you're right.
I think. I mean, back, I always say back in the day. But I mean, back in the day was more like just marijuana, some cocaine use. Like, but now, like with the heroin epidemic that is plaguing not only the county but the country, and the pills, like everything is changing so much. So in terms of, I think I definitely want to expand our training and look at different areas of narcotics enforcement, but also look at different ways to engage the community and interact with the community. We're doing a lot of training with the Rye Act, and we were really looking to participate, become a very strong participant, not only in that coalition, but in anything else in terms of community education.
What can the community do? If you had to ask the community, what do you want from them? Anything, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say, like, just don't be afraid to tell us stuff. I mean, you can send an anonymous tip. Like, if you need help, call us. You can call my office directly. I pick up the phone.
Right.
I don't have a secretary. I pick up the phone. I return my own calls.
No.
So I mean, that's something I do. I take great pride in it, and it was definitely a bit of an adjustment coming to that position. We had over 100 officers in West Orange, but now I like the smaller town feel. Like, and I have direct interaction with citizens, and I like helping them solve problems. But I would say what I need the community to do is tell us things. If people are up to no good, tell us about it. Tell us about it, and we'll do whatever we can. We'll put all of our resources towards solving problems, and even with kids with alcohol, like in underage parties. I mean, I've had our officers tell us with. In years, like this past summer was one of the quietest summers we had in a long time, and I think coming out of the gate strongly that we're going to take a zero tolerance policy or approach to kids and underage parties. I mean, it's something it's not good, and unfortunately, sometimes it leads to tragedies. I've met with several family members who lost kids over the past couple of years, and there's as a father, like, and as a police commissioner. That's no place I ever want to sit again in someone's living room or sit across a table from someone who's lost a loved one. So I think the community will definitely know is I care about this job. I'm extremely passionate about this job. I love law enforcement. I love the profession, and I love what it stands for. Like, and I think that's when I lose that passion, then it's time to move on and maybe take up fishing or something I know nothing about. Like
fishing. One other thing, because we have to go soon. I know coming into these small towns, I'm from the Bronx, so the small towns where you don't say a lot, someone gets in trouble, I know you just let them slide, and you don't call the parents, and you let it go. Did you find that was here when you came in? Just certain people, just leave them be.
Absolutely. And
I hear that from different police departments.
Absolutely, and I look at that as that's the culture you're brought up in. So I mean, and that's good, bad, or indifferent. Like, I thought it just needed to change. So in terms of people getting in trouble, obviously, if you're 16 or older in New York, you're considered an adult.
That's right.
So you're held accountable in New York. And I told our officers, you get somebody with 16. they're 16 years old, they have
Right.
drugs on them, they get arrested,
Right.
they get brought in, whatever the court system decides
Right.
to do with them, or whether they go down a different diversionary
Right.
path for treatment,
Right.
that's fine. However, we're going to do our job and hold people accountable. So, but even with kids, we want to try to get them the help
That's
they need,
right.
and so they don't go down
I
that
know.
wrong path.
I know. It's something that we're all working on, to get them the grassroots in the beginning, get their parents the information so that they don't wind up in treatment.
Absolutely.
And they're not out there because they are starting younger, and the stuff out there is not our grandma's pot.
Not at all. It's
It
different.
is scary what these kids are using.
Sure, it really is. It really is.
And and that's the dance, trying to get them to understand that this really is poison for them.
Sure, sure, and I think that's the big part of the educational component too. And I know RIAC, they got a phenomenal grant, $125,000, 5-year grant,
Right.
fantastic. And we're actually working with them and looking at some educational opportunities, not only training for our officers, but also different educational opportunities. So maybe speakers could come in that kids can maybe relate to
That's
a little
right.
bit more. So I mean, you have to make things with kids. I always say you have to be relatable. Like it's not going to work if the guy with the gray hair is
That's
talking
right.
to you.
That's right. That's right. You know what, Commissioner Michael Corcoran, I really appreciated you being here.
I really
It's been
appreciate
great
you inviting
having
me.
you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
And we'll be back, and we'll see you next time.